Have you been sticking to your New Year's resolutions? I hope you are, because that's the only way you can improve yourself. So whether it's saving more to buy a house, exercising to lead a better lifestyle, or you're studying more frequently to ace that exam, whatever it is, remain committed. Remember, you can't expect results when you haven't made any changes. It's another edition of your favorite magazine program. The show starts with a timely public service announcement, followed by the news.
All the people them with a Zig V, hold up your hand. Zig V in the Caribbean territory, but we now want that virus take set pan we. So make sure send no stagnant water inside and mash up all mosquito breed inside. Pour hole in the tin them where you dash way and change the water in your vase every day. No litter, dispose of your garbage proper. You know them the thing that we turn drain blacker. Tour your community and tour your yard for suppress mosquito. We have figure hard dash we all tire turn over drum pan for prevention is the greatest weapon. And special shout out to pregnant ladies. Protect yourselves and protect your babies. Draw for your zapper and your mosquito spray. If we do all that we can to keep them away. How we now was in vain.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Monday, January 16. Repairs to the Bustamante Hospital for Children's Fire-Damaged Intensive Care Unit, ICU, will be completed within 2 weeks. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton gave the update while touring the National Chest Hospital on Friday.
It's a very important part of the infrastructure of the hospital, the ICU unit, and so we have to get it up quickly. So it will be a high priority work that would have to be done.
The fire, which occurred on Thursday, engulfed the ICU, resulting in several children being affected. Dr. Tufton says the youngsters are recuperating. He has praised the hospital staff for taking swift action in response to the incident and says alternate arrangements have been put in place to care for the patients admitted to the ICU.
The facility has made a temporary provision to keep the patients there and or the University Hospital of the West Indies. Discussions have taken place, and the University Hospital of the West Indies has facilities to house those patients.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health will be exploring the possible expansion of services offered by the National Chest Hospital in Kingston. The Portfolio Minister says the medical staff is to submit a proposal for that expansion, which includes the extension of working hours for specialized areas. It is also proposed to create an isolation area for cases deemed serious health risks.
You may recall some time ago we had the issue of Ebola here in Jamaica and the world, and we had to rush to create isolation areas to facilitate the possibility of persons who are contaminated. Luckily we didn't need to use those facilities, but given the way the global health situation is and the fact that diseases move around the globe, we are always at risk, and therefore we have to prepare ourselves for that, and this facility does lend itself to developing such a facility.
Overall, Minister Tufton says he is pleased with the operation at the National Chest Hospital. 28 wards of the state at the Clifton Boys' Home in Darlaston, Westmoreland have been temporarily transferred to a nearby church hall after fire destroyed their residence shortly after 4 p.m. yesterday. The cause of the fire has yet to be determined. Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, Floyd Green, has expressed relief that none of the boys sustained injury in the fire. He says a team from the Child Development Agency's Western region has been fully mobilized to coordinate suitable arrangements for them. The CDA is currently conducting an assessment and is providing counseling to the boys. They have also supplied hygiene kits, towels, and sheets. The Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management has also made a donation of mattresses. The children range from 6 to 18 years and are in need of clothes, school uniforms, books, and other items. Minister Green says the 52-year-old boys' home is now in need of contributions as everything was lost. Contributions can be made at the Child Development Agency by calling 967-1614 or email info@cda.gov.jm. Government has turned down the United Kingdom's offer to assist in the building of a new maximum security prison in Jamaica. This was disclosed by Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Minister Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith during last Friday's sitting of the Senate. She was responding to questions posed about the non-binding Memorandum of Understanding signed by the previous administration and the UK government, under which the British government would have contributed £25 million towards building the new prison. Senator Johnson-Smith informed that after assuming office, the new administration met with the UK government and discussed the terms under the MOU.
This administration does not believe that the terms offered would be beneficial to Jamaica as a whole. And on the basis of same, we have rejected the offer.
The minister says the government's decision has been communicated to the UK government. And finally, the CARICOM Review Commission is to submit its report to the government by mid-February. Chairman of the Commission, former Prime Minister Bruce Golding, will present the report to Prime Minister Andrew Holness and Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith. Senator Johnson-Smith made that announcement during a recent press conference at her ministry. The commission was launched in June 2016 to review Jamaica's relations within CARICOM and the ACP CARI Forum framework. It will also evaluate the effects that Jamaica's participation in CARICOM has had on the country's economic growth and development. The Foreign Affairs Minister says the report will be made public following discussion by Cabinet.
As you know, the report attracted keen interest across the region and therefore required expanded consultations. It was important that the Commission implemented rigorous analysis of the findings from the consultation.
She says the deadline for the committee to submit its recommendations has been extended from August 31 to September 30. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
We want a productive Jamaica. We are not productive Jamaicans. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity is the way to go for all us Jamaicans. Small business, big business, old and young, we are tell every woman and man. We want growth and prosperity for a better nation with a building plan. So we can build our product and sell our product and put more money in our hand. Our economy can rise to a level and build a better nation. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity.
Productivity, Pathway to Prosperity. A message brought to you by the Jamaica Productivity Center, a department of the Ministry of Labour and Social Security.
2016 was a banner year for Prime Minister Andrew Holness, from being sworn in on March 3 to setting and achieving some major goals. Join us as we recap 2016 in the office of the Prime Minister.
I, Andrew Michael Holness, I intend to lead a government of partnership and to deliver on what we have committed to the Jamaican people. We will grow our economy. We will create jobs. We will reduce crime. We will build housing. Time for partnership. Time for action. This government will have a laser-like focus on economic growth. What we're doing here today is to create the architecture of growth.
I'm happy about this plan. I had something to do with it. And our mandate, our commitment is to the poor.
Jamaica must align its foreign policy with its economic interest. Jamaica is calling on the international financial institutions to review their policy on graduating middle-income countries from development financing using GDP as the sole criterion.
We are committed to the protection of the rights of the most vulnerable among us and to ensuring the welfare of all domestic workers within the framework of our determination to promote decent work for all.
This is about strengthening Jamaica's position within the regional integration process, which is absolutely important for Jamaica's economic growth and development for the next 50 years. We now have 3 oversight bodies for the IMF program: fiscal, EPOC, growth, the Economic Growth Council, and public sector transformation. The National Security Council is spearheading an integrated and comprehensive set of measures and actions which will significantly and sustainably reduce crime in our country. If you are not thinking of owning a house or building a house, now is the time to do it. My dream is to fulfill your dream. We have come to this house, Mr. Speaker, and we have delivered 1.5 plus. Jamaica will be at its best when its most talented graduates see a career in public service as among their highest possible ambitions. We value the positive contributions of our youth. It is important that they are engaged and their voices are heard. No, that is prosperity.
Join us tomorrow when we'll bring you the strides made in 2016 by another ministry.
A healthy and educated people living in a clean, natural environment, reducing crime, improving the justice system and governance, building a prosperous economy. It's not just a vision, it's reality. Learn about the plan. Join the vision.
My country, Jamaica, has a rich heritage and is very unique. If we all pull together, we can make it the place of choice to live, work, raise family, and to do business.
For more information on Vision 2030, call the Planning Institute of Jamaica or visit vision2030.gov.jm, your parish library, school library, or the Jamaica Information Service.
Earlier you saw highlights of 2016 in the office of the Prime Minister. Now you can catch up on the Prime Minister's plans to transform the public sector in 2017.
The government has identified broad priorities for transformation. The implementation and coordination of these actions will be done by a public sector transformation implementation team led by Mrs. Maria Thompson Walters and consisting of professionals wholly and totally dedicated to ensuring that the agreed actions are implemented on time. In addition, the public sector implementation team will need the services of specialists in communication, definitely, law and industrial relations. The public sector implementation team will have the overall responsibility for coordinating the entire universe of transformation activities across ministries, departments, agencies, and to escalate to my office any areas where there are obstacles. Public sector transformation is so central to the agenda of this government that we have put in place a public monitoring body launched in November last year, the Public Sector Transformation Oversight Committee. PSTOC's role is to monitor compliance and report to the government and report to the public as well. Public sector transformation will be based on focused reforms with measurable outcomes that will unfold in many phases with the necessary consultation with stakeholders. The phased approach mitigates against analysis paralysis. Also, A phased approach will generate lessons at each step along the way that can improve the process of the transformation going forward. And it gives us a chance to have ongoing dialogue with the stakeholders. Jamaica finds itself today with a large number of public bodies, approximately 200 in total, with 200 boards, 200 executives, and the executive staff. And many of these public bodies are either overlapping in function and a few of them are non-functional. Some of them have reached their sunset. And so that contributes to the inefficiency of the public sector. The plan is to phase in mergers, outsourcing, divestment, and where necessary, closure of some public entities. Public sector entities will be merged where there are overlaps in the services provided. Public sector entities will be closed where the entity has reached its sunset. Public sector entities will be outsourced or divested where it is determined that the private sector can deliver the service more effectively. As mergers and closures occur and shared services are implemented, there will inevitably be some job displacements. But also, there will be opportunities for growth and a more efficient government that delivers more with less and that supports the growth of the users of the service. I want to make an important statement. The objective of public sector transformation is not to cut jobs. In the restructuring, yes, there will be some jobs that will have to be displaced. But that is not the objective. We are not going into this thing to slash the civil service and get rid of the public sector workers. That's not the objective. The objective is to make the public sector more efficient such that it becomes less of a cost to the private sector, so that the private sector can become more efficient, so that it can create more jobs, so that it can actually take on more employment, which will actually come from the public sector, because a lot of skills exist in the public sector which could support growth in the private sector. That's the objective. So where mergers happen and closures happen and job losses there are inevitable, then the government has a duty, having taken on this responsibility to transform, to ensure that there is some equity, that those who are affected can have access to retraining, and that there is an outplacement system in place that supports the transition into private sector employment.
Know your numbers and control the keys to a healthier heart. Know the numbers for your blood pressure, cholesterol level, blood glucose level, and your weight and body mass index. Find out the risks they represent and what you need to do to stay healthy. Talk to your doctor and start making healthy lifestyle choices to prevent a heart attack or stroke.
January is being observed as Cervical Health Awareness Month, and we want to encourage you to screen for this preventable yet deadly disease called cervical cancer. Get some details in this next feature.
It's an awful multiplication of cells out of the normal that take over your system rather than the normal cells. That's what it is.
According to the Ministry of Health, in 2010, 3,198 persons died of cancer, accounting for 24% of all deaths in Jamaica. The common types found in women are cancers of the breast, cervix, and colon. On the other hand, cancer of the prostate, lung, and stomach are more common in men. The good news is doctors say that these illnesses are largely avoidable. And the doctors say prevention and early detection are our best defenses, even while the level of treatment and care is improving. In addition to promoting healthier lifestyle, government and its private sector partners are revolutionizing the gamut of care, with 2 linear accelerator machines purchased to provide timely and efficient access to cancer care treatment. Our most vulnerable patients are targeted to have access at no cost at centers of excellence being established at the St. Joseph's Hospital and the Cornwall Regional Hospital.
Changes in standard of living, introduction of screening methods, and public health education and promotion have impacted the distribution of cancer seen in Jamaica over the years. This trend is expected to continue, at least in the short term, as public health education increases and screening becomes more widespread.
In the case of cervical cancer, caused by a viral infection from the human papillomavirus HPV, the pap smear is considered the best screening method to date.
And the reason for this is that a screening method should be able to find a disease before it has become established, find it in the precancerous phase, be easily accessible, not very invasive, inexpensive, and universally available. The pap smear satisfies all of that sort of criteria.
The pap smear is not an actual test for cancer, but rather a test to detect the presence of any abnormal cells with the potential to develop into cancer. The result from this painless process is used to inform decisions about what treatment to apply to prevent cancer from developing.
A sample of cell is taken, sometimes even with a little brush, so there's no scraping and clipping and all of that like what the perception is out in the street.
Squamous cells, which are cells lining outer layers in areas such as the lung, hand middle, mouth, vagina, and cervix, are usually affected by the human papillomavirus. The virus gets to the cervix during intercourse and has the ability to transform the normal cells into precancerous ones.
You hardly ever get cervical cancer in women who have never had sex. From getting the virus to getting cervical cancer can take 15 years or more.
The recommendation is for annual screening to detect, monitor, and treat with any incidents or progression that might be taking place.
The next reason for annual checks is that there is no test that is 100%. All tests have false positive and false negative. You could do a smear and it is normal, but something is there. But if you keep doing it, it will pick up something.
Abnormal smears can be treated in the precancerous stage by methods that include freezing, cauterization using electricity, and what is called the loop. That is, removing the bad area and having what is called a cone to abort the process. Where cancer has developed, treatment will involve radiotherapy and chemotherapy and possibly major surgery. In an aggressive move to reduce local cervical cancer cases, the government of Jamaica has taken a decision to introduce human papillomavirus HPV vaccines to protect against high-risk strains of this family of viruses. HPV vaccines are recommended for preteen girls and boys ages 11 to 12, providing immune protection from the virus before exposure.
We have 2 types. We have one that they call bivalent. It vaccinates against 2 types of HPV, 16 and 18, because HPV are numbered. And there is one that is quadrivalent that vaccinates against 6, 11, 16, and 18. 6 and 11 vaccinate against genital warts, while 16 and 18 vaccinate against 70% of cervical cancer.
There is a new vaccine yet to be introduced that vaccinates against 9 types of HPVs. This has the potential to prevent up to 90% of cervical cancers.
We are going to do better when we have the cervical cancer HPV vaccines.
Take the necessary actions to stay healthy. Get screened yearly, eat well, exercise, and get vaccinated.
This is the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads the Zika, chikungunya, and dengue viruses. search for its breeding sites, and destroy them. A message from the Ministry of Health.
And that's where we leave you on today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. Be sure to join us tomorrow around about the same time on this station. If you can't wait for another exciting magazine program, we are available all day online at jis.gov.jm or on our YouTube page. Our Facebook and Twitter pages are also packed with information you need to know. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.